project, we also need to understand the root causes of why we have the problems in the cities that we do currently. So we can understand the actual reasoning behind why Jacques designs the cities the way he does. The industrial areas are outside of the city, and where possible are self-contained resource, extraction and distribution nodes, with on-site production, design, manufacturing and production facilities, all rolled into one. Connected via maglev freight trains to the main city hubs for delivery of goods produced, while reducing pollution in the city hubs drastically, whilst utilising a monorail passenger transport system between local city hubs. The pollution is almost completely annihilated from where our current system is. By having the design and manufacturing facilities located together at the same site, combined with on-site resource storage facilities, a huge amount of energy and efficiency is saved. And when you add to this the fact that transportation of material resources and finished goods is handled by maglev trains, by clean, renewable energies, and the removal of unnecessary shipping and transportation of those resources from the source of extraction to the manufacturing plants, the effect of intercity traffic would be immense, not to mention the huge saving of both human and labour resources in repairing worn-out motorways and removal of inherent pollution that is generated in our current supply chain. Where possible, all goods produced would be biodegradable or recyclable. And for example, in the case of electronic goods, these would be designed with each individual component being upgradable, utilising standardised parts and connectors, reducing the amount of waste, and technology improves. Products become outdated, and when you consider the various options we have for creating natural plastics, for example, palm oil or hemp oil, for example, as well as genetically engineered plastics, our reliance on our current oil is almost completely wiped out. The only reason we still use oil now is for the profit incentive, because it's not profitable to invest into renewable energies at this time. Many people initially see Jacques' work and think to themselves, it's just a fantasy, it's a big utopian dream, The buildings all look like something from Star Trek. Never happened. They don't look at the purpose behind the architecture. And it's very difficult for us to present the architecture in the way that Jacques has designed it in one book or one video. It's important for us, if we are serious about conserving the resources of our planet, that we understand that the function must become the dominant value over aesthetics, even though this is very difficult for many due to our current indoctrination into our materialistic and wasteful consumerist aesthetic culture. The circular arrangement of the city needs less energy and materials in transportation of goods and services and people. Also, it's easier to make an inbuilt transportation system in a circular system. The routing of transportation is linear and radial, and therefore more efficient. You don't need traffic lights everywhere. You don't need roundabouts everywhere. Much of the transportation would be off the ground. The on-ground transportation would be for the emergency services to get to people if they have accidents or if someone's ill in a home, etc. The transportation between city hubs would be via maglev or monorail, depending on the distance. With the city being designed in a circular arrangement, you only ever need to design 1/8 of the city, and then we array it to become a circular city. This would save a huge amount of time on the actual design process of creating these cities. The standardisation of buildings is a more efficient use of resources if we're serious about minimising waste and maximising efficiency. For example, if you look at some of the buildings in London, depending on the level of the building, you have different sized windows. You have you might have 4 or 5 glazed windows in a row, and then a single one, and then a double, and you know. In order for us to produce those, we have to have different designs for them. It takes a different amount of materials for each of them to be created. If we standardise those, it becomes a much more efficient process, becomes cheaper on resources, it's easier to make. You know, we need to start thinking about the actual functionality of our cities, of our buildings, to take this into account rather than just looking at how the building looks, whether it's aesthetically pleasing to my cultural values, which are different from your cultural values or yours. Many of the structures are dome-shaped. The reason for this is that the dome structures are structurally stronger than current home types and won't collapse in cases of earthquakes. These buildings have more surface area for direct sunlight. The reason they're white is because we would be using ceramic skin that would have embedded solar cells, so that the actual homes themselves are actually self-generating homes. They generate their own electricity. Obviously, this would only be used in countries where there's direct sunlight for most of the day, but they would also be combined with other energy sources within the city, so you'd have wind power, tidal power, depending on whereabouts the city was built. Domes also take less maintenance from the typical cuboid homes that we're used to, and due to the increased surface area, homes like this can easily generate their own heating and cooling. Their own heating and cooling and house power. In countries where this is not enough sunlight to do this, we will obviously use different technologies. Heat source, heat exchangers, etc. Additionally, these structures are easily constructed using 3D printing technologies, as one continuously sealed mould with openings left for windows, although the latest in technology is suggesting that within probably the next 3 or 4 years that we would actually be able to do 3D printing with multiple materials in the same mould. So you'd actually be building the house with the concrete and the windows all in one, all sprayed in the printer. The current printers that we've got are typically table-sized. There aren't any, apart from the one in California University, which they're now using to build complete brick walls with the services inside the actual walls. There's no reason, apart from the monetary reason, of why we can't make these machines absolutely huge. They could be the size of this room, for example, printing off houses, travelling down tracks, printing off complete, housing areas for these cities in a number of days rather than, several years as it would currently take with our current construction methods. Currently, we conceive of homes within the restrictions of our habits and indoctrination into our culture and architectural design, and styles of that culture. We consider it normal to live in a square brick and wood-based house, which often breaks over the course of its life, requiring endless maintenance, and is often flattened in major storm, as we see year upon year, especially in this country. My little friend Peanut's actually got something to say about the current mindset of our buildings.
Fine city, good. Like in a very nice theater, good. This town is great. It's a fine city. Have you looked around? Holy crap! Sucks. A lot of history in this city. Translated, old as shit. They've been rejuvenating, refreshing. refurbishing, polish a turd, it's still a turd. Fine city. Good. Sorry. But the drive down here did suck, yes it did. Was in the 405 in the 5. Holy crap! Thank goodness we turned on the radio to listen to the traffic report. How much good did that do us? None whatsoever. I hate the traffic reports, they're a waste of time. Right, let me do the traffic reports, I'll save everyone a lot of time and money, alright? Hey, Tina, it's 8 o'clock in the morning, there's a lot of traffic out there, what's going on? It's 8 o'clock in the morning! Everyone left their house at the same damn time! Back to you! Call me back at 5:30, I'll tell you the same thing! Only guess what? You're going the other way!
Okay, so we still think it's perfectly normal to have these in our homes, stairs. Why? They're spatially inefficient, they're dangerous. I mean, why do you have a rail at the top to stop your kids falling down them? It's just nonsense. People over a certain age can't even use them. Homes are clearly not currently designed to be lived in. But hey, as long as they look good. It seems normal, doesn't it? It's even considered traditional and beautiful that, you know, for many, a mind shaped by this culture. In times to come, as values and attitudes towards the intelligent and sustainable management of the world's resources change, we won't be thinking the same way we are now. That's pretty clear. The homes that Jacques designs, partner wants that one. As seen in our latest 3D renderings, which you can see in the exhibition next door, these houses are conceptual, but they are based on design criteria as laid out by the Vinci College. They only reflect what the houses of the future may look like. You're not going to be forced to live in this one if you don't like it. You know, homes will be designed for you specifically, for your needs. Each home would be designed for the needs of the inhabitants of that home. For example, someone who loves cooking and hosting dinner parties, for example, they might want a large kitchen and a big dining room. Not everyone would want that. You know, I'm a bit of a computer nerd. I like to sit behind the computer doing my 3D animations and stuff. You know, this is all quite daunting for me. I'm not really a good cook. Not big on dinner parties. Getting better. So that kind of home would not suit me. I'd like something with a study where I can do my robotics and play around with my computers and things like this. You know. So it's quite clear that we all have our own individual needs based on our own individual personal habits, our own individual personal desires, things that we like to do, our hobbies, etc. So our homes really need to be designed with that in mind. And you can't standardise that. You know, you can't carry on standardising homes based on the region that you live in. If you look at our homes in South Kent, they all look the same. You know, there's mild variations, but they're all done by the same architects in the same areas. They've learned the same styles of that area. You can't actually, in most counties, you can't actually get a house designed that is that different from everyone else's, because it will look, you know, out of place in the local area. The council will not let you, will not give you planning permission for that. Many people will also move house